It's probably one of the most unique designs we've seen, but let me introduce these two players. In the lower right position, as the red Protoss player, we do have White Ra. His opponent in the top right position, the blue Zerg, it is Dimaga. I'm Maddles, I'm here with Lurlian, and we've had some exciting games. This is game 4 of a best of 9, by the way, for anyone joining us.
Yeah, hopefully we're going to see the full 9 games being played by both parties. We said that the last show match they played for the Alienware Arena, as Maddles pointed out a few times, ended in 3-1 for Dimaga. We could still go to that score. It could be 3-1, but of course the series will not end at that. It will end after at least 6 games, at least 5 games are played.
Yeah.
In this case, at least 6, because White Ra already won one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My math was solid.
Your counting is going really well today, Lurlian.
Yeah, my counting is going well. I think I deserve a lollipop after this cast.
I will. I will post a lollipop out to you from England. I wonder if they taste the same. I know, like, American sweets taste very different to British sweets. They've got a more artificial taste, especially their chocolate is a lot different to our chocolate. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but I
don't think I've ever eaten foreign chocolate.
Haven't you?
No.
You should try it one day.
I'm not much of a chocolate fan anyway. I'm more of a StarCraft fan, so let's get back into the StarCraft 2 match. StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm match that we've got going down here. This is the ESET UK Masters you're watching. Make sure to check out ESET. You know, they're the only sponsor to this event. We don't run any other ads. We don't run Twitch ads that can be really loud and really noisy and really intrusive sometimes. It only takes about a month to see another thread on Reddit, on StarCraft Reddit, where people are like, oh my god, this ad has malware, it has obnoxious sounds, it has pornography in there. Luckily we've got an amazing sponsor like ESET who's able to provide us with the prize pool to be doing these events. Indeed
it is. And of course the Season 1, which we've had a good couple of announcements tonight already, which we will recap after this game, is the proud owner of a £10,000 prize pool, so that is pretty huge. And I'll refresh everyone's memory after this game about how you can get involved with Season 1 of ESET UK Masters. But what we've got down at the moment is things looking fairly normal. White Ra, he went Nexus first into the Forge, his gateway coming up. It's all getting scouted nicely though by the Zerg player. Meanwhile, Dimaga, Paul Hatch, he's then got to take his third relatively quickly if he is planning on going for the standard meta game, and he's going for the one on the low ground. The probe is trying to chase it at the moment. Of course, we see it starting to build, and we mentioned this in the Challenger best of 5 before we saw this, that actually this map is quite awkward for Zerg taking a third base. It's a long way away, and you can get trapped, especially in this spawn position between your third and natural.
Yeah, this spawn position makes such a big difference. Zerg does not want to be expanding towards the Protoss player. That would be, well, not suicide, but definitely a big risk to take, because it would be so much easier for the Protoss to get there. Proxy pylons would be so much closer. 5 gates, 6 gates would be all hitting a lot earlier than they would be if your hatchery is placed in the position that they did it now. So this is a bit of a case of an entombed valley. You know, vertical spawning positions would make for a bit of a different game, and so is this map. Do you think we're going to see forced cross positions on this map one day?
I think that's pretty likely, to be honest. I think with the amount of dead space around the back, air harassment's really, really strong in the spawn position, and if you spawn the close by horizontal, which I believe you can, then obviously you've got the natural really quite exposed as well. So I think forced cross spawns is a likely thing we'll see in the future, but of course things are so volatile at the moment in the beta that map balance isn't of huge concern, I don't think, compared to the unit balance at the moment.
You're right. They're definitely not focusing on map balance right now. They are focusing on map balance for Wings of Liberty, though, which is a good thing. The forced cross positions being added onto Antia and Entombed, which is a really great change. But in Heart of the Swarm, they're not even sure on what units they want to have where and what abilities they want to have. And they're still switching things up so much. Like the Time Warp ability was moved from the Oracle to the Mothership Core. And the Envision ability was moved from the Mothership Core to the Oracle, which is a huge change, which is just indicating that Heart of the Swarm still has a pretty long way to go before it could be released.
Indeed. Now, we are seeing here that the Stargate has just finished up for Waiwa. He's getting his Mothership core after slightly later than we have seen it previously, but he's chrono boosting it out. I'm interested to see what's going to come out of this Stargate. He's got 3 gas up, which is usually what he gets when he gets a second gateway. We can see +1 ground weapons is on its way as well now for Waiwa. So he's not super committing to this Stargate. He's getting his 3rd base up just after the 7-minute mark, which I'm really used to seeing from Waiwa at the moment now. It's very good. Dimaga choosing to take the macro hatch over the 4th. That's a good choice on this map because there's no easy 4th base to take. The one close to your natural and main is just expanding towards your opponent. It's going to die. And the other one is such a long way away that it's going to be really difficult to defend it. But here we go. We've got the first Oracle coming over, Lurlian. And Dimaga hasn't got much in terms of preparation to defend against that. He's got 5 queens, but no spores yet.
Yeah, 5 queens is quite alright to defend against a single Oracle. Has to be careful though. 5 queens, 3 bases means a single base is going to have only 1 queen, or multiple bases are only going to have 1 queen. And the Oracle, as we all know, can snipe a queen 1v1, pretty easy peasy. The Mothership core, a Stalker, and 2 Zealots joined up with that little small skirmish force too, and they moved forward a little bit and actually forced a little bit of unit production out of Dimaga. We see that the unit count, 47 workers to 49 workers, small advantage for Dimaga, where we would expect him to be. He would be at about 60 right now if he would not have had to produce all those links. But he definitely needed those links. He would have been very unsafe if he hadn't.
Now, it's interesting you point out about those Zealots and Stalker with the Mothership core. The reason for that is actually it's a refinement of Waiwa's build. That rather than going for the Oracle harassment on 2, he keeps these units back in order to defend his 3rd base. Basically, the 2 Oracles, Mothership core, a few Zealots and a Stalker are able to hold off against moderate speedling aggression. And that was very important because one of the big problems in Waiwa's build previously, when he was going for the Oracle harassment, was just a flat-out counter push towards this quick and greedy 3rd base. So very, very good play, good refinement out of Waiwa, and he was testing it very thoroughly, but committing incredibly heavily to Oracles at the moment. He's got 4 out now, so he's going to be able to do a lot of damage potentially to this main base, which only has the 1 queen at it for Dimaga and the 1 Spore Crawler. So interesting to see where he decides to push in.
Yeah, I'm very excited. What is White planning to do right now? He's moving forward, moving backward. I think he's trying to get unit production out of Dimaga, and Dimaga has produced some units. 9 roaches on the way, and already has 35 links on the field. So Dimaga's definitely afraid, and he has the army to deal with what Wydra has right now. Especially when those 9 roaches hatch, he's going to be more than comfortable. I think Wydra is just poking. I think he's going to go back once more. He's saving the energy on his oracles, not trying to harass with them, doesn't want to get them killed, but he also has an aggressive pylon being placed here, so he might be committing to this a little bit. There are no infestors, there are no hydras yet. Those oracles are going to be quite powerful, especially when the queens get out in the front like they do now.
And as we can see, the Zerglings are actually doing quite a nice job of cleaning up a lot of this ground army. The Oracle is getting cleaned up very nicely as well by these queens. A lot down, another one is going to fall, and suddenly we see Wydra being forced into a full retreat. He did recall some of his units, but of course the Oracle's going down mean an end to the potential harassment. We do have Hydras on the way now as well for the Zerg player, and as a result, he's got a strong Roach Hydra force, and with no Colossus out, no High Templar or Archon, it's going to be difficult for Wydra to defend this.
Yeah, it is going to be difficult, and he's in, once again, a difficult position, Maddles. He tried to attack, it looked okay for a second, but with the additional roaches and Zerglings coming in, he just wasn't able to do it. Wydra expands to a 3rd base, but also wants to put on the pressure, which is a weird situation. He was on 3 bases, he was in a great economic position, and then attacked into a Zerg who was not expanding. If Dimaga would have double expanded to a 4th and a 5th base, sure, go ahead, attack, put on some pressure, because he would not have had this many units with this many upgrades. But he's only on 3 bases. It's 3 base versus a 3 base. Wydra did not have to really attack there. And now, once again, he is on the back foot. He is going to have to defend against the now huge army of Dimaga that is heading his way.
Indeed, it is huge, and a slight variation we've seen from Dimaga is with the Hydras this game, he went for the speed upgrade before the range upgrade, giving an offensive stance, and Now we see some great force fields coming down for Waira at the moment, splitting this army up very nicely, using Photon Overcharge on the Nexus, trying to hold the defense as best he can. Waira does have the 2 Immortals out, but one is getting surrounded by Speedlings and is going to go down very shortly indeed. The Voidways have been cleaned up by the Hydras as well. With the cannon, with the Photon Overcharge, it looks like Waira should just hold, but he's going to lose an awful lot of stuff here. It's going to be a close hold.
It's going to be a close hold, but we have to keep in mind there's nothing... Well, there is actually... Dimaga is preparing more of a follow-up than I originally thought. He does have a 4th base on the way. He does have more upgrades on the way, but he doesn't have the Infestation Pit or the Transition ready to Hive just yet. And Waira is... He's continuing to macro. He's making a few Colossus right now. He's still getting his upgrades. And Dimaga is staying stuck on his lair tech a little bit. He's producing units. He's not been droning up to saturate his 4th base just yet. But he's still in a commanding lead. Let there be no mistake. It's looking good for the Blue Zerg here.
It is indeed. But the good news for Waira is his first Colossus has just hit the field. This is going to help him combat the Hydras, which, of course, we saw. I believe it was in Game 3, if I'm not mistaken. We saw that, obviously, Waira did great with getting those Colossi out. And the one thing I'd say Waira didn't do this game, which I have seen him do an awful lot, was the harassment with the Oracles. He never went in to try and attack the main base or any of the bases, actually. And when we consider the fact that for a very long period of time, when Waira had 4 Oracles, there was only 1 Queen and 1 Spore in the main. But look at this now, Lurlian. We do have a large Roachling Hydra force coming in towards the 3rd yet again. And with only 1 Colossus and a Voidway, this could be tough. The force fields go down, trying to funnel these Zerg units through. But there's just so much stuff there for Dimaga. He's resupplying with more units streaming across. This is a really tough position for Waira. That Colossus is doing as much damage as it can. Extended Thermal Lance isn't done, though. The 2nd Colossus is on its way through. So, as we can see, Dimaga pushing forward. Waira's in a lot of problems here. Yeah,
there's too much Zerg stuff right now. No Thermal Lance, not enough force fields. Waira just lost his army at the start when he tried to attack into Dimaga, then lost his army again, and it has to rebuild it continuously, whereas Dimaga's macro was just better. He had more bases, he had more stuff, he traded better, and now he's going to be taking out the forges here, denying the upgrades and denying any long-term perspective for Waira. Thermal Lens has now finished up, so we could see some interesting micro out of these 2 Colossi, but only 2 might not be enough to push the army back. A 3rd one, though, might change. Oh, this 3rd one is...
He's in a lot of danger. He's trying to run back. He's microing. Will it survive? The Hero Colossus does manage to get out of there. That was definitely hot water to be in, but we see 3 Colossus on the high ground trying to clean this up, but 1 does now fall. Vision being given, 2 go down. The 3rd but also fell very, very quickly, and I'm expecting to see the GG. There we go. So Waira is now down 3-1 to Dimaga.